I was supposed to do Warren a favor a couple of years ago and introduce Archbishop Ndungane, but because I am a working journalist, I got sent somewhere else in the world right before I was supposed to do that introduction. So I'm paying a slightly unpaid debt tonight, but happily so. In 2011, if you wanted to get together a meeting of Palestinian Christians, it might be just as easy to have that meeting in Houston or my hometown of Brooklyn or Lansing, Michigan, as it is to do in Israel proper or the occupied Palestinian lands. The population of Christians in the birthplace of Christianity has been in steady decline through the 20th century through to today. Large numbers of mobile, educated, and politically ambiguous people during an era of hardening confrontation between Jews and Muslims just found it easier to be themselves somewhere else. Even with that decline, the story of Jesus, the Christian faith, and ritual are always alive in that part of the world, always renewed there. Christians continually pour in from the rest of the world to see, to touch, to experience one of the places on earth where the membrane between this world and the next seems thinnest and most permeable. The breathtaking array of churches which enjoy the faithful allegiance of Arab Christians tell a part of the complicated story of this part of the world, a story of very old, very deep theological arguments, and the status of this crossroads between Africa, Asia, and Europe as a place where armies marched and empires staked their claims for the 2,000 years since Jesus walked the hills of Archbishop Chacour's home region, and when Jesus headed to Jerusalem to meet his destiny and change the world. Elias Chacour is the Greek Melkite Catholic Archbishop of Galilee. The Greek Melkite Church is in full communion with Rome, meaning that these Eastern Christians recognize the Pope, the Bishop of Rome, as a direct successor of St. Peter, but also recognize the role of the Greek Melkite Patriarch of Antioch in Syria. In addition to being a bridge church to the See of Rome, the Greek Melkite Church is also in conversation with the Anglican Church, another church very much at home in the Holy Land and in a constant search for peace, mutual understanding, and justice in the gates of Jerusalem. Or as we heard earlier from the psalmist, may those who love you be secure, may there be peace within your walls and security within your citadels. What a perfect time to be hearing from the Archbishop. One day after the world did not end, and 2 days after President Obama and Prime Minister Netanyahu met at the White House to begin, or if you will, re-begin for the dozenth time, or perhaps more, a Middle East peace process that seems always to promise more than it can deliver. Particularly pertinent to times like these, the Archbishop has said, peace needs no contemplators, it needs actors, people who are willing to get their hands dirty, to get up and do something. The same is true for justice. His own hands, as we just saw, have been dirty in that way since his first assignment as a parish priest in a tiny village in Galilee. Archbishop Chacour, as you heard, is the founder and president of the Mar Elias Educational Institutions, the consortium of schools that you just saw, open to all Israelis regardless of religion and ethnicity. The school makes up for perceived shortcomings in the state-supported school system, which are criticized for the preparation they give Arab youth. He's preached that government leaders signing their names to documents don't get you peace. He's renowned for insisting instead that peace has to be planted in the hearts of young Jews, Muslims, and Christians. You don't have to take my word for it either, especially if you're one of those people who have trouble trusting reporters. I've heard about those people. I never meet them myself. The Archbishop is recognized around the world for his tenacious commitment to peace. He's been given the World Methodist Peace Award. He is a Chevalier of the Legion of Honor. He was made such by President Jacques Chirac in 2002. He was named a Peacemaker in Action by the Tannenbaum Center for Interreligious Understanding in New York, and was awarded the Nuano Peace Prize, given to people devoted to fostering interreligious understanding to further the cause of peace. He's a provocative thinker, a challenging advocate for a people who are often forgotten in the superpower and neighborhood jockeying for power and influence that's really written the story of the Middle East over the last 60 years. In accepting an honorary doctorate from Emory University in Atlanta, he said, "You who live in the United States, if you are pro-Israel, on behalf of the Palestinian children, I call unto you, give further friendship to Israel. They need your friendship. But stop interpreting that friendship as an automatic antipathy against me, the Palestinian who's paying the bill for what others have done against my beloved Jewish brothers and sisters in the Holocaust and Auschwitz and elsewhere. And if you've been enlightened enough to take the side of the Palestinians, oh, bless your hearts, take our sides, because for once you will be on the right side, right? But if taking our side would mean to become one-sided against my Jewish brothers and sisters, back up. We do not need such friendship. We need one more common friend. We do not need one more enemy, for God's sake." His Excellency, the Most Reverend Elias Chacour, is the Archbishop of the Greek Melkite Catholic Archieparchy of Akko, Haifa, Nazareth, and all Galilee. Please welcome him.
I will speak few words about this school that's now a fact, but it's a love story which did not grow up normally and naturally. It had to fight in order to exist, and it is still doing so. Then at the end I will ask you a question. What do I need from you? After traveling that far, I'm not coming for free. I need you. I need to ask you some favors. Who am I? Well, I am a young boy from Galilee. I am Elias Chacour. I am a Palestinian. I have no bombs. Never. I'm a Palestinian Arab. My mother language is this very easy to learn, the Arabic language. You laugh, I know. You Americans, sorry, you are not big at languages. I understand that. Back there at home, we Palestinians, we learn like I did 11, 12 languages, and we feel we are still very poor. We need to learn more. And Arabic language, if you come to Galilee, come and visit us. I will introduce you to the kindergarten. These kids you saw here, they all speak Arabic. If they do, why can't you? You don't need. You can live in Los Angeles, fly to Boston, go to Detroit, then to Texas, and all speak English. The whole world speak English. You hardly know that Spanish is becoming a major language in your country. But this is one of your problems. I'm a Palestinian Arab Christian. Palestinian Christian? That's an abnormality in your newspaper. And Arab Christian, that's also something beyond comprehension. How comes? It is true, ladies and gentlemen. I was not born a Christian. Thank God. Those say that to the Vatican, the Archbishop says, thank God I was not born Christian. If you want to say it, go ahead. I was not born Christian. I don't know what about you Americans. Were you born Christian or you were like me? I was born a baby. Only a baby. But with a birth certificate, I was created on the image and with the likeness of God. Not more sure, but not less either. It's after that. Long after I was born as a human being, I became Christian. And that was not long ago. 2011 years ago. When my ancestors, following my compatriot, followed him to Jerusalem, this bloody Jerusalem that is reputed for killing all those who try to do good there. And the same pattern continues today. He was captured, my compatriot Jesus Christ. He was crucified, died, and you know, if you don't know, please know it, the third day he was risen, and he is risen. And I wonder about all these Christians who go to Jerusalem eager to visit the Holy Sepulchre. It's nice, but why do you go there? You never read what is written on the marble. It's the only place in the world where it is written, He is not here. He is risen. That's in fact. You want to see Him, you can. Go back to Galilee, where I am the Archbishop. And in that respect, I can say I'm the only Archbishop in the world who has among his community a person called Jesus Christ, another one called Mary, others called the Apostles. It is such an honor to have them with us, but they are not easy to deal with. If you come to Galilee, you are most welcome. We like to see you there. It's important for us to welcome you, to share something to drink, to share something to eat with you. We don't want your money. We want you. But don't stay long in Galilee. Alone, Jews and Palestinians have enough problem there. Go further back to your Galilee, maybe in Washington, in the U.S., where your Galilee is waiting for you. Someone is waiting to listen to you, to have your attention. That is your Galilee, my Galilee, everyone's Galilee. Since the day of the Pentecost, where there were 120 men from Galilee, together with the mother of Jesus. That was the time when Jesus Christ fulfilled His promises to send them something before they leave Jerusalem. And He fulfilled His promises. He sent them something. Do you know what did He send them? Sorry, louder. Are you sure? I am not. Reread your Acts of the Apostles. He did not start sending them His Holy Spirit. He started sending them His wind. Riyah, Ruh, Ruho. He sent His wind and His strong wind. You call it then a storm. He stormed their minds. He cleansed their minds from their preconceived ideas, from the patterns they have painted for them about nations, groups, and religions. And they started understanding there is a new kind of election. There is a new kind of invitation to share the divine banquet with the Lamb of God in heaven. It's no more the Jews who are invited. Not either the Christians. Not yet the Muslims. Who was invited? According to these 120 men from Galilee, those invited are only and exclusively man and woman. Every man, every woman. What do you do with the chosen people, the Jews? We'll ask them, are you men and women? If they say yes, remind them that they are very warmly invited to do the same thing. If they are not men and women, you face a real problem. And that's what I face very often in my relations with so many beloved, despite their stubbornness, beloved Jewish brothers and sisters. Since that time, the church was created in Jerusalem out of men from Galilee, and we stayed there, but we were unable to keep our experience with our men from Galilee for ourselves. My forefathers went all over the world preaching a revolutionary idea. Now, from now on, there is no privilege for Jew against Gentile. You know what? I wish that 71, 72 years ago, a Christian leader would have stood up courageously and said, ladies and gentlemen, that cannot be justified that there are privileges for Germans against Jews. And we are waiting today for a leader to stand up and say that cannot be justified, that there are privileges for Jews against Gentiles, Jews against Palestinians. I wish that I stopped being second-class citizen. Palestinian Arab Christian, also as strongly, I am a citizen of Israel. I'm a Palestinian Arab Christian citizen of Israel. And that's so complicated. That sounds so contradictory. In fact, in the past 63 years, it was full contradictory. But if we dig a little bit deeper, we find that behind the contradiction, there is a hope waiting to survive. We do not need to be copies of each other in order to respect and love each other. We Christians in Israel are trying our utmost to develop this idea. We have to create a unity within the respect of the diversity that exists there. We are not 100% successful, but we did not lose our goal either. Palestinian Arab Christian citizen of Israel, I am pleading with my Palestinian brothers and sisters inside Israel and with my Jewish friends and acquaintances, from the President of the state to Knesset members to businessmen to rabbis, that unless we accept to be different and to share the effort to build this country for all of us, we would not have any chance to survive. It's not with the power of weapons and dollars that we can secure the survival of Israel. It's with the power of justice and peace, it's the power of quality of relations we can create among us inside Israel, and from there go towards the neighborhood, the Arab countries. You already noticed that I am speaking about Arabs who are inside Israel. I am not speaking about the West Bank and Gaza Strip. That is a separate, tragic problem that has to find an end the soonest possible. 1948, Israel was created. It was not created on the land that was not existing. It was created on a land that was called Palestine. When one of the assistants of Theodor Herzl said to him, Theodor, you mean a land without nation to a nation without land? You mean Palestine? Aber Palästina ist überbevölkert. He wrote in German. That means Palestine is overpopulated. He said his famous answer, we have to be kurzsichtig. We have to act with short-sightedness. And unfortunately, this short-sightedness, faking as if there is nobody, created a tragedy that is still going on for Jews in Israel and for Palestinians. Israel was created and the Palestinians started their diaspora. Israel became independent and the Palestinians became refugees, deportees, all around the Middle East. And very few, the poorest among the Palestinians, managed to stay either in their villages or around their villages. And these are called the Israeli Arabs, the Arabs of Israel, the Palestinians of 1948. They call us all kinds of names and they don't want to recognize us. Neither inside Israel nor outside Israel. Now we are 1,300,000 Palestinian Arabs with Israeli citizenship. Among those, a very small Christian community. 150,000 Christian Arab Palestinians inside Israel. We represent 25% of Palestinian Christianity. The other 75% you can find them either in exile, in refugee camps, or in self-exile. And as Archbishop, my major concern is how to slow down, if not to stop completely, the immigration of our Christians abroad. To give you an example of Bethlehem, 25 years ago there were 60% of Bethlehemites were Christians. Now, maximum 9 to 10%. It's a real catastrophe. The numbers also from the Galilee are big. In the nearby city of Toronto, there are 1,200 Christian Palestinian families from Galilee. In the faraway city of Melbourne, in Australia, 825 Christian families from Galilee. We don't want to see them there. They have a place at home, back home. But that is the situation. And I became priest because my father... May I continue or I stop? You can stop me whenever you want. My father wanted by all means to have one of his children become priest. We were 4 brothers. He sent the first one to Jerusalem in those times, to seminary. 4 months and he escaped. He did not want. The second one threatened to commit suicide if father would send him to seminary. So he was not sent. The third one escaped from then Palestine to Jordan, to very far remote relatives, and hid there. Father discovered him 3 months later. He never accepted to come home before father promises he will not send him to seminary. Good for him, who remained the youngest. And I am the youngest. I was delivered to the bishop. And from my childhood, I learned my Bible on the lap of my mother. She used to go and work on the fields with my father. When she came in the evening, she was so tired, wanted just to rest. But I was waiting for her. So in order to calm me down, she took me in her lap and told me the story of Jesus, of Mary, of Joseph, of David, of Solomon. She knows the Bible by heart. It's there that I learned that Jesus Christ did not come to say, if you are suffering, that's great, happy you are. That's neither great nor happy. She used to tell me, he did not say to his disciples, sit down, you are blessed because you are peacemakers. You are blessed because you want justice and peace. No, my child. He was inviting them to get up, to go ahead, to do something, to move, to get their hands dirty in order to bring justice around and to make peace a reality. She always said to me, never accept to be a peace contemplator. Peace does not need contemplators. Peace needs proactive people who get their hands dirty. I was already prepared not to refuse the idea of priesthood. And little by little, I loved to become priest. Because I said, I might give my life to restore a little bit the broken dignity of my people. To start to try to recuperate a little bit of the self-esteem that we lost. And I was sent to Paris for 6 years to study what? Bible, theology, philosophy, etymology, history, sacraments, goodness, what not? 6 years, that's a little time. Now that I'm the Archbishop, may I confess, I forgot everything. Everything. The only thing I remember is that God is love and God does not kill. That's all. That's more than enough for me, peasant from Galilee. I was ordained priest in 1965, as gentlemen had said. Was ordained in Nazareth. My bishop said, now we need a parish. You go for 1 month to a village called Galilee. Okay, sir. I was 24 years old. I could not ask questions. I wondered what Evelyn was. A lady, a village, a man. I had no idea. And I looked for 2 hours with my car that I brought with me from Germany to find that Evelyn was a village. And there was a church. But a church standing alone. No facilities around whatsoever. And I found myself with my Volkswagen bug that I received from Germany for my ordination to priesthood. I had no choice but to live in the Volkswagen. I lived there for 6 months. Don't pity me. It was very comfortable. You know why? Because then I was not as big as now. I was much smaller. I could fit in. Now, I would not accept to sleep 1 night in the Volkswagen. And there I started to work for 1 month. 1 month is nothing. 30 days. They finished very, very quickly. I did not know that my bishop was like all other bishops, and like myself. We tend to have a very short memory. We tend to forget very easily what we want to forget. He forgot me there. I forgot myself. And I stayed 38 years waiting for the 1 month to finish. If it has not for the Vatican, for John Paul II of good memory, and for the sin of our church, you would have now found me as the parish priest in Evelyn, who went there for 1 month. My dear friends, 5 years ago, when I was planning to retire, the Synod and Rome asked me to become the Archbishop of Galilee. I saw in that the voice of God. And I accepted. Now I'm yearning for the day when I write a letter of retirement. Not when I'm 75, much before that. I'm living in Israel, in Evelyn. I don't want to go into all details. We have so many stories, exciting stories. It's a story of love story for the Lord and for my people. In 1981, the pressure from the villages were so big. We need a higher educational institution. We need a high school. Who am I to build a school? But the pressure was so big, caused me so many nightmares. I said, okay, Lord, you have to help me. I did not say that to the Lord. I said that to my friends all over the world. You have to help me to build a school. The first thing I did, I applied for a building permit. 3 weeks later, the answer came, denied. Wow. What could I do? They don't want me to build a school. So I took that paper, I said, Elias, what do you need in order to have a school? Do you need a building or a building permit? I decided I needed the building, and the building permit is needed for the authorities. What remained was to build without building permit and case Suarez. Normally I am a very law-abiding citizen. Except when the laws go directly against basic human rights, I don't care then for the laws. You don't hear that from many archbishops, I know. We started the construction. 3 months later, the police came. Can you show me your building permit? I said, Mister, you know that I don't have a building permit. Why do you ask me? He said, then how can you build without building permit? I said, my dear friend, I never built with building permits. I built with sand, cement, steel, stones, and so on. He said, you don't do that in a civilized country. I said, I wish you were civilized. You would have given me a building permit. And if I build without building permit, it's to help you become a little bit more civilized. He could have killed me if he was ill. He says, okay, stop arguing. You stop building, you are summoned to court. Okay, sir. He disappeared. We continued the construction, and I went to court. Till I became Archbishop, I was 37 times in court, always for building permits. They would never give it to us. 1991, I had to fly from Tel Aviv to Washington, D.C., and I landed at National Airport, rented a car, and drove right away to the residence of your former Secretary of State, James Baker. I knocked at the door. He was not at home. His wife, Susan Baker, bless her heart, came to open the door. It's not normal. But she was waiting for some more American ladies to come in. She opened the door and she saw me. I don't look like a lady, unfortunately. She was shocked. She said, but who are you? I said, Madame, I am another man from Galilee. Poor Susan. She was so confused. She told, do you have an appointment with us? I said, Madame, we men from Galilee, we never make appointments, we make appearances. Poor Susan, she was utterly confused. She did not want to invite me in, she could not kick me out. She invited me into the kitchen. They had a huge kitchen, I could spend my life there. And she gave me something to drink that I never liked. I don't know how I swallowed. The iced tea she gave me. How can you drink that, Ramiro? I pity you for that, but it's good. It took a minute to swallow this liquid. When Susan said to me, I have to let you go, And she was taking me to the exit door. She said, I'm sorry, I can't spend more time with you. I am having one Bible study hour with 20 American ladies. I was already at the exit door. I told her, what kind of Bible study hour you have? She said, we're having a look on the so-called Sermon on the Mount. I say, I pity you. Good luck. She said, why do you pity me? I said, because how will you understand that? It's not written by an American author. It's a peasant next door to my village who sat down and wrote that Sermon on the Mount. And he did not write it in your English language. He wrote it in one of my Semitic languages. What will you be able to understand from that? And Susan Baker, very clever, very spiritual lady, said, I see. Can you help us understand it better? I said, I will try. I was reintroduced, this time to the living room, no more to the kitchen. It took me 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. That was a long appearance, 2 hours. To explain the 8 first verses of the Sermon on the Mount. That you in America call them sometimes the blessings, some other times the beatitudes, and when you want to be extravagant, you call them the be happy attitudes. Bad interpretation. And I ended by begging these ladies to go home, convince them they become peace actors, peace, not contemplators, but peace builders. And I left back home, leaving blood brothers, and we belong to the land, my 2 books, to Susan Baker. To make a long story short, a week later, the telephone rang in my office in Galilee. It was Susan Baker. Mr. Chacour, can we pray together? I said, yeah, why not? And we prayed together on the telephone. I never imagined in my life I would be one speaking to Almighty God on the telephone. Over there, back home, we speak directly without anything. But I do it with Americans like you do it. This operation repeated itself twice, 3 times a month. And more than once, a third person would interrupt our prayer, say, now it's my time, I have 5 minutes free, I pray with you. You former Secretary of State, James Baker. And we became prayer partners. Later on, Susan told me, you know, Abuna, when you left your blood brothers in our home, in the evening, I wanted to have a look at it. I opened the first page, read them. I was unable to leave the book till the next morning, till I finished reading it. And she was converted. She became a friend. I became a prayer partner. I became Abuna to them. 3 months later, I called Susan Baker. Susan, please help us. I'm in bad shape. I need a building permit for a gym. And it's for 9 years that I am begging every official in Israel to help us. Nobody refused, but nobody helped. I realized as if we were no more in the promised land as much as in the land of promises. Please write a letter to Shamir encouraging him to give us the building permit. Oh yeah, Abuna, I'll do that right now. And she wrote a 2-page typed letter. Showed that letter to her husband the evening. He said, darling, you will not send that. That might create a diplomatic crisis between Israel and the United States. They don't care, but we care far too much. It was after Gulf War I, with this impossible coalition he was able to build together. He did not want to see it disintegrating for the school of Abuna Chacour. He took the letter, went to his study, read the letter, and called Susan. Susan, come on here. Sign this letter. I will sign it with you. I will take 2 copies of Abuna's books and hand-deliver them to Shamir. I will not leave his office before I have the written promise. Abuna will have his permit as soon as possible in 1 week. I know that he stormed the office of Shamir in Jerusalem, together with a diplomat called Dennis Ross. And Baker refused to get out without a written promise from Shamir. Abuna will have his permit for the gym within 1 week. The result was a kind of agreeable pressure on me from the local authority, saying, "You went to Washington, why did you not come to us?" I said, "I am knocking on your door for 9 years. You don't have ears to hear." We got the building permit. After that, James Baker and Susan, bless their heart, they decided to come and visit us in that school. Who are we? A very simple village, unknown village of mostly refugees. And who comes to visit? The Secretary of the American State. My goodness. It's like someone coming from heaven. When he came in there, I was waiting for him where he parked his car. And as soon as he went out, he said, "Abuna, I am not coming to see you. We see each other enough in Washington. I am here to make an act of solidarity together with you for our Palestinian Christian brothers and sisters, and to tell them we mind to see them stay in their homes." Act of solidarity. Tell me, do you do that when you go to the Holy Land? Visit your Christian brothers and sisters as an act of solidarity? Or you just go to the Holy Sepulchre where it's officially written, he is not there? Reconsider your visits, please. 6 months later, I'm sorry I went too far with my speech. 6 months later, the Israeli Foreign Ministry called me. Mr. Chacour, our Foreign Minister, received the Nobel Peace Prize, and he wants to give his first lecture on peace and justice in your institution. Do you agree? What do you think? Not only I agreed. I invited 1,800 Palestinian dignitaries from all over Galilee to come and listen to Shimon Peres speaking about justice and peace. Where? In that gymnasium that was so difficult to obtain a building permit. I was waiting for His Excellency Shimon Peres. He went out from his car, and I was walking him into the gym while telling him the story of that place. And after 1 minute, he said, "Abuna, please stop. I don't want to hear anything more." I said, "Why?" He said, "I know much more than what you know, what you think about this place. I'm not coming so much to speak about peace and justice as much as to see what for did James Baker raise hell." If only you understand how good is it to raise hell sometimes. Not against one side, but for the benefit of both sides. I could go on and on and on with my stories, but I finish asking, why do I share these stories with you Americans? I'm leaving back home and you will forget me. It's because of 2 points. First, because I believe in you. You can make miracles if you believe in yourself that you can make a difference around you. And the second point is because I am very well known by now to be an international beggar. You know what a beggar is? A person who asks favors, a poor person, or a professional person asking favors. I am here to ask favors from you Americans. I need your favors. You would help me, I would continue to bring together Jews and Palestinians to give them hope for a better future. You will help me, I suppose. Don't be nervous how many dollars you want to give me. I don't want your money. I know with your money, I can do miracles. It's only with your money that you were able to build a school for 4,500 human beings. Money is important for us. But for me, there is something much more important. I am begging for friendship and for solidarity. Friendship, you will give it easily. But as soon as you finish this evening, you will forget about it. And that's normal. But solidarity, you cannot forget. It requires a reconsideration of your certainties. It requires that you question your convictions. And this has to do for me regarding Jews and Palestinians. I never forget that I'm a Palestinian and Israeli citizen. What do I need from you? You might have Jewish friends. Surely you have Jewish friends. Some Jews are nice, very sweet, very open-minded. Some other Jews might be closed-minded. Some others might be fanatical. Others might be settlers. If these are your friends, your Jewish friends, may I beg you on behalf of all Palestinian children, please do not give up on your friendship to your Jewish friends. They need your friendship now, your encouragement more than ever before. Give them help, give them all the money of the United States. The more you give them, the more I'll be grateful. Stand with them. It's not bad, it's good. But please, stop allowing yourself to express your friendship to the Jews as an automatic enmity against the Palestinians. We are not a nation of terrorists. We are a terrorized nation. We paid with our life, land, independence, dignity, self-esteem. We paid everything to quiet down the bad conscience of the Western world. And if by any chance, because of the generosity of your organization, you have some sympathy for the Palestinians, if you have read one of my books or other books, and you feel the real suffering of the Palestinians, you realize that these are people who have paid so much for the independence of others. And you decided to be on our side with Palestinians. Goodness, why not? Bless your heart. Be on our side. For once you will be on the right side. But if being on our side, you allow yourself to become anti-Jew, we do not need your friendship. By doing so, you become one more enemy, and we don't need that. We need one more common friend. I even don't ask you to try to destroy this horrible wall that divided families and society. I rather invite you, instead of going to the impossible to destroy this horrible wall, I invite you to build a bridge over the wall between one Palestinian and one Jew. We Jews and Palestinians, we do not need to learn how to live together. We don't need. We need just to remember how we used to live together for centuries and centuries. And the past 63 years should be put between parentheses. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much. You see where my hope is. In seeing you uploading, I'm sure you were not uploading me, but uploading this corner of your conscience that was moved. Go ahead with it. We stop here with this conference, but we don't end here. We are waiting for you in Galilee. We love to see you back in Washington. God bless you. Bless America. Bless everybody.